The past few weeks in Tyneside have brought an atmosphere of suspense that is hard to ignore. Anyone walking the streets around St. James Park can feel that something is in the air, almost as if a new chapter in Newcastle United's history is about to be written. In the pubs, between sips of beer, supporters exchange theories, discuss behind-the-scenes developments, and speculate that the Magpies may have received a unique opportunity capable of transforming the club's next few years. It feels like this is about more than football. It could be a true turning point. Before we dive into the details that have fans so excited, a quick request. If you are passionate about Newcastle United and want to follow all the latest news, behind-the-scenes stories, and exclusive analyses like this, subscribe to the channel now. Your subscription makes all the difference, allowing us to continue delivering high-quality content to the Black and White Nation. Let's build this community together, because here information is delivered clearly, humanely, and without fluff. What stands out at the moment is the shift in the landscape. Until recently, Newcastle seemed to be navigating terrain full of limitations, difficulties generating their own revenue, obstacles imposed by Premier League rules, and the feeling that England's top clubs always had an unbreakable advantage. But something has changed recently. Behind the scenes, there are talks of an event that could open the doors to huge commercial deals, the kind that truly make a difference when it comes to top-level competitiveness. This mystery has taken over the city. Among rumours, British media analysis, and expert commentary, the consensus is clear. The Magpies are about to gain a freedom that, until now, seemed impossible. And this change could redefine not only how Newcastle generates revenue, but also how it challenges the country's top clubs. Attentive fans have already noticed that the board has been making strategic, discreet moves, preparing the ground for something bigger. But the major revelation has only come to light in the past few days. Here's the crucial point. According to information confirmed by Fortu, after the historic agreement between the Premier League and Manchester City regarding the so-called Associated Transaction Rules (ATR), Newcastle United has now received the green light to move forward with new business and sponsorship deals. This could represent a massive turning point. As previously, these rules were precisely the obstacle preventing the club from fully leveraging the power of its Saudi investors. Now, the game appears to have changed, and with it, the team's ambitions. This agreement was not just an administrative detail. It represents the opening of a door that had previously been locked for emerging clubs like Newcastle. The ATRs limited how owner-linked sponsors could inject money into the club, blocking, for example, million-pound deals with Saudi companies like Sela. It was precisely because of these restrictions that the Magpies had to sell young talents, such as Yankuba Minna and Elliot Anderson, just to comply with the Profit and Sustainability Rules (PSR). Now, that type of pressure could be a thing of the past. It's worth reflecting. If major contracts once again become a real possibility, Newcastle not only breathes financially but can also dream of competing on equal footing with the Premier League's giants. Stronger sponsorships mean more investment in the squad, better ability to retain key players, and greater capacity to attract high-profile names. This creates huge expectations, not only among fans but also in the market, which is now watching the club's next moves closely. If you've made it this far in the video, it's a sign you're as invested in this topic as we are. So take a moment to subscribe to the channel, because it's precisely through your participation that we can maintain this intense and detailed coverage of Newcastle. Every subscription strengthens this passionate community and ensures you don't miss any updates on what could be the club's greatest transformation in years. The decision involving the Premier League and Manchester City was far from simple. Manchester City had vigorously challenged the ATR rules, citing flaws and inconsistencies. After a lengthy process of debate and adjustment, an understanding was reached that changes were necessary. And it was within this window created by the dispute that Newcastle found a favourable opening. The resolution sets an important precedent, giving the Magpies the chance to pursue their own financial expansion without as many bureaucratic obstacles. It's interesting to remember that these rules were originally designed to specifically restrain clubs like Newcastle, Aston Villa, and even Everton, preventing them from breaking the hierarchy of the so-called Big Six. But football is not static, and when a decision of this magnitude occurs, the balance of power tends to shift. Now, Newcastle can not only dream of approaching the top but can also genuinely compete to stay there, with resources on par with the wealthiest rivals. Amanda Staveley, former shareholder and key figure behind Newcastle's purchase by the public investment fund PIF, has always been critical of these restrictions. To her, the rules were unfair and did not reflect the reality of the market. Time has shown that, indeed, there were inconsistencies, and this change opens the way for a fairer model. Nevertheless, the pressure remains. The club needs to be strategic to capitalize on this new scenario and avoid mistakes that could compromise its credibility with the league. Strategically, this means that deals like Sellers can finally come to life, generating a consistent cash flow that will give Newcastle the security to plan for the future. It's not just about spending more but about building a solid foundation capable of supporting signings, infrastructure, and academy development. The goal is clear: to turn the club into a lasting powerhouse, not just a short-term project with fleeting success. In this context, the Black and White Nation can dream big again. For a fan who just a few years ago saw the team battling relegation, the idea of competing for major titles seems almost surreal. But this is exactly what the new scenario allows us to imagine. Manchester City's recent history serves as an example. With the right structure, investment can elevate a club to an entirely new level. And if it worked in Manchester, why not in Newcastle? So, fans, do you believe this change in the rules really puts Newcastle on equal footing with the Premier League's giants? Leave your comment below and join the debate, because your voice is part of this story. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel now so you don't miss a single detail of this journey. Here you will always receive complete, clear and passionate analysis. What we know so far, based on 442's reporting, is that the possibility of new sponsorship deals is more real than ever. There are no official announcements of specific contracts yet, but behind the scenes, negotiations are already underway. This creates an air of anticipation. Which major company will be the first to sign a £1 million deal with Newcastle following this turnaround? The answer may come sooner than we expect. Until then, hope is abundant. Fans have learned to deal with ups and downs, but this moment feels special. It's a chance to see Newcastle move from a club in construction to a consolidated powerhouse. The signs are there, and if well leveraged, the future could be even brighter than the most optimistic predictions. And to close, here's the invitation. Subscribe to the channel and follow every step of this journey with us. Because, at the end of the day, Newcastle does not walk alone. It carries the passion of millions. And together we can watch closely how this historic agreement could transform the Magpies' destiny in the coming years.